What's up? This is Dr. Skizzle, and I'm with the Jman. Today, we're just going to do a debate. We have recently found out a difference of opinion between us. That is who would win in a fight between the Jedi Council and the Avengers. I will be representing the Jedi Council, and J-Man will be representing the Avengers in this debate.
Yep.
Alright, so we're gonna, here are the rules. No interrupting or talking until the other person's done, and the winner will be decided by either if someone can get their opponent to change their opinion, then they win, or if that doesn't happen, then you guys will vote in the comments about who won. And don't just vote for the person who has the same opinion. Say you think the Jedi Council would win, but you thought J-Man argued his opinions better, then vote for him. But if you think, just vote on who you thought argued their opinion better. So, alright, opening statements. I'll go first. So, here's why I think the Jedi Council would win. So, right off the bat, I think Black Widow and Hawkeye would get killed pretty easily. Quicksilver, well, he looks a lot faster than the Jedi, but if you've read the novelizations of the Star Wars movies, if you've read the official novelizations, which are canon, it states that the Jedi can go so fast you can't see them with the naked eye. And, it even said in the duel where Mace Windu was fighting Emperor Palpatine, it said that they were going so fast, it just looked like random flashes all around the room, and no one could see them because they were going so fast. So I don't think Quicksilver would be able to use his speed, so his speed wouldn't really be a factor. Captain America, his shield wouldn't work that well because the Jedi could just use the Force on him, and his shield can't block the Force because the Force is literally everywhere. It surrounds you. It runs through you. It's everywhere. It's not material. So Captain America's shield wouldn't be able to block it. It's like air, Captain America's shield couldn't block air, so it couldn't block the Force. Iron Man, I think, would put up a fight, but a lightsaber could block anything Iron Man's suit could shoot. A lightsaber could deflect or block any of those things. And as we saw with Mace Windu fighting General Grievous, if one of Mace Windu's Force crushes is able to completely make General Grievous implode on himself, like in the Star Wars cartoon, I think he would have a powerful enough Force crush to be able to, at the very least, deactivate or break Iron Man's suit. It might not be able to completely penetrate it, but his Force crush should be able to at least puncture Iron Man's suit and deactivate it. Hulk, it would seem like he would put up a good fight, but in fact, he couldn't. I think he puts up one of the worst fights in this whole entire matchup because, as we've seen countless times, the Jedi have amazing mind powers. They can Jedi mind trick people, and the stupider or the duller the brain is, the easier it is for them to, penetrate it or persuade it. And they were able to do it on Bib Fortuna. They were able to do it on stormtroopers, and those guys are all, smart enough to talk and do things. The Hulk isn't even smart enough to talk, so I think a Jedi would easily be able to Jedi mind trick the Hulk into killing, the rest of his team, or at least, knocking out the rest of his team and fighting them. And Thor would put up the best fight, but like I said, if they Jedi mind tricked Hulk into fighting Thor, they could kill the rest of the Avengers. fairly easily. I'm not going to say easily, but I think they could beat the rest of the Avengers for sure. As for Thor, even if they weren't able to make Hulk fight Thor, Thor's two attributes are his melee and his thunder. So I think his thunder, the Jedi are able to control anything. They can, with the Force, the Force runs through everything. It runs through us, it runs through objects, it runs through water, it runs through air, and it runs through lightning. So if Thor tried to, summon his lightning, the Jedi would be able to control it, manipulate it, and send it the other way, or even send it at Thor. And you may be saying, well, they couldn't block Force lightning, or they couldn't, stop Force lightning. Well, that's true, but Force lightning is different from regular lightning. Force lightning is created by the dark side. It's it's laced with dark energy. It is dark energy. It's nothing, it's not lightning. It's just dark energy formed into something that looks and acts like lightning. So, lightning and Force lightning are completely different. Jedi can't control Force lightning because it's created of Force and dark energy. Jedi can control regular lightning because they control anything natural, made up of, natural substances. So they'd be able to control his lightning and send it the other way. And so that's why I think they would win. That was my opening statement. Alright, go Jman.
So, just to clear things up, we're talking about the Jedi and the Avengers. Well, first, the Avengers in the movies, right?
Yes.
As far as Age of Ultron goes.
Sorry, you cut out. What you said?
As far as Age of Ultron goes, that's the team of Avengers that we're talking about, correct?
Well, the two movies or anything that's canon in the comic books, yeah.
And, well, I'm just going to decide to go with Age of Ultron, because, this is just my opinion, but I don't think the Jedi would stand a chance against the other Avengers in the comics. So, and for the Jedi, we're talking about any and all Jedi, or just on the Jedi Council, or Jedi Masters?
The Jedi Council and Masters.
Alright, so, the Scarlet Witch has mind powers of her own, and she can manipulate her opponents to the point of where she has complete control of them, and she can make them do things similar to what you stated with the Jedi. So I think since her and the Quicksilver are siblings, they'd obviously work together, and while working together, I think the Scarlet Witch would, first off, she would manipulate their minds, the Jedi, if she was powerful enough. And as we've seen in Age of Ultron, she took out a bunch of Ultron clones, if you will, or the droids he sent to attack the Avengers. So I think she would do that, and that would allow Quicksilver to quickly snatch the Jedi's lightsabers, and possibly, if he could, he would break their hands for them to not be concentrated on using the Force due to broken hands. That's not saying that they wouldn't be able to use the Force, it's just that, pain is pain, and you gotta focus on that. So, yeah, Captain America, as far as he goes, I think he'd put up more of a fight than you think. As we saw in the first Avengers movie, he was battling Iron Man and Thor before they got to know each other.
Right. Well, go ahead.
Thor, which is the god of thunder, and has a hammer like no other. No one fully knows the true strength of the hammer, and Thor actually pounded his hammer into Captain America's shield, and surprisingly, it didn't break. So, who knows what would happen if, well, what I'm going to say is, I think Captain America stands a pretty good chance against a lightsaber blow to his shield, since a god's hammer, a god's weapon of choice, couldn't break it at all. Couldn't even put a scratch on it. So, and Iron Man. I agree with you on some points that he may go down easy, but none of them would go down without a fight, especially Iron Man. And Iron Man would, I compare him to Jango Fett a little bit, like with his jetpacks and shooting things from his suit. And as we saw, a Jedi Master such as Obi-Wan Kenobi even had trouble with Jango Fett, who only had a couple blasters and a few things in his grappling belt, along with a jetpack. So, Iron Man has a little more upgraded armor, and I think that even if he did go down, I'd still think that he'd find a way to maneuver within the Jedi's attacks. Because I also compare him a lot to Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. They're both millionaires, and they're both very smart, not only with their money, but with their brains. And they can create suits that can withstand anything. For example, Batman, he took on Superman and actually defeated him one time with the help of kryptonite, which was very clever on his part. And as for Iron Man, he took on the Hulk, and with his Hulkbuster suit. And yeah, that put him down. That put the Hulk down for some time. So I think Iron Man would stand a little bit of a chance, but I think he'd eventually go down. And Thor. He is the god of thunder. With that being said, he can control lightning. He can maneuver his hammer and smash any opponent, any and all opponent in his way. And yeah, the way I think this would go is I agree with you in saying he would put up the best fight out of all of the Avengers, and I think he would use his powers to his ability. I think the smartest move he would make is to summon lightning from every angle of the sky down on the Jedi, so they wouldn't be able to block it. Even with the power of the Force, they'd still be concentrated on the lightning that's coming their way. Say, for instance, if it's coming in front of you, and you're worried about that part, but then it's back of you and it's on your sides, so you wouldn't be able to control that even with your lightsaber or with the Force. There'd just be too much. And if the Jedi couldn't even control blasts from the clone troopers that ambushed them and betrayed them, who says that they can block every single lightning bolt that comes their way? And another thing is Thor could pound the ground with his hammer and completely upground the Jedi, and that would be an advantage for him. And then he could use his lightning, or his hammer to smash through them. And I think he'd get the upper hand out of the entire. No matter how many Jedi come his way, I think he will end up coming out on top. And as for the Hulk, he is a monster. I wouldn't say a monster of a man, because at times he is more monster than man. But he does tend to go for his opponents rather quickly, and I don't think that'd be the wisest thing to do. And the Hulk doesn't have the right mind for battle strategy. All he knows is to smash and to conquer his opponents, but that's not always the smartest thing to do, especially concerning the Jedi.
Right.
Even though he does have a healing factor of some kind, I don't think he would come out on top. And if we're talking about the Avengers from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then I'm going to have to go ahead and add the Vision into this equation. I think with the help of Thor, they'd make a pretty good team, and the Vision can pick up Thor's hammer, as we've seen in the movie, because I don't know if I should go into this, but he does have a gem on his forehead, and it's theorized that it's the same gem that Loki has had on his staff that he carried around in the first movie. So that's the same power that Thor has, since they're related. And so that gives him some sort of power to be able to wield the hammer. So I think if Thor was in a predicament in a situation where he couldn't get out of, I think he'd have the Vision help him out. And he also shoots lasers, so that comes to an advantage.
All right.
Ultimately, in the end, I think the Jedi would put up a pretty good fight, but in the end, the Avengers, at least some of them, would get the upper hand.
All right.
Come out with the win.
So those were good points. I wrote them down in bullet points as you were talking, so I can remember. All right. So let's start out with what you said about the Scarlet Witch. You said her mind powers could invade a Jedi's mind. Fair point, but I feel like the Jedi just have such strong telepathic powers. I mean, Mace Windu and Obi-Wan teamed up, I think it was Obi-Wan, were able to penetrate the mind of Cad Bane. They were able to get into Cad Bane's mind and nearly, destroy it. Cad Bane is one of the most intelligent, calculating criminals in the Star Wars galaxy, and the fact that they were able to penetrate his mind leads me to believe they have outstanding telepathic powers. And if they have such great telepathic powers, and they've been training since they were 2 years old, and training in the Force and their telepathic powers, I don't think the Scarlet Witch, who isn't real trained in her powers yet, would be able to penetrate any of the Jedi's mind. I just don't think they'd be able to do it, considering they're so trained and so disciplined in the Force and able to and have such clear minds, and they're so skilled in telepathic powers. I don't think she would be able to get into any of their minds or penetrate them. As for Quicksilver's speed, again, I don't think he'd be able to take their lightsabers because they are faster than he is, as stated in the novelizations. Captain America, yes, his shield is powerful, but like I said, the Force surrounds everyone, or everything. It runs through everything, so I don't think his shield would be able to block it since it's all around him. And it's not material, it's like air, so or it's like a sound wave or a light wave. It can't be blocked out. It just goes through us, It goes through us. So I don't even think they'd need to use lightsabers. And not to mention, factoring in he couldn't use it with defense, he most certainly couldn't use it for offense. Because if he threw that thing one time, if he threw it even one time, a Jedi could just reach out and grab it with the Force. They could just pull it to them with the Force, and then he's over. And even if he didn't throw his shield, and he tried to punch them or kick them, there's no way a mortal human could be able to punch or kick a Jedi Master, who has the Force and a lightsaber and could, and is faster, or is like as fast as the speed of light. I'm not going to say they're as fast as the speed of light, but they're insanely fast. There's no way a mortal would be able to, even come close in a hand-in-hand confrontation. And you said Iron Man, you were talking about his suit and how his armor is upgraded, and more upgraded than Jango Fett's. I'm going to say that his isn't as strong as Jango Fett's, because Jango Fett has Mandalorian armor, which is some of the strongest armor in the galaxy, and I definitely think it's stronger than Iron Man's. And like I said, I think Iron Man would be able to get force crushed, and anything he shot could get deflected. You also mentioned something about Thor being able to smash his opponents with his hammer, and given how insanely fast the Jedi are, and how, not slowly, he swings it fast. Thor swings his hammer fast, but the Jedi are just so fast, I feel like they could easily dodge it. Because his smashes are powerful, and one hit to a Jedi would kill them, I think. But I don't think he would be able to hit them because they're so incredibly fast that you can't even see them moving with the naked eye if they're going as fast as they can. So he wouldn't even be able to touch them with his hammer. And not to mention, if he got close enough with his hammer, got close enough to smash them with his hammer, they're so fast, they probably would have already stabbed him by the time he lifts his hammer up, They would have already, they'd be able to stab him before he could smash them with his hammer, considering their speed. As you said, for Thor and him being able to hit them with lightning from all angles, like I said, they can control lightning, so they'd be able to, send the lightning out, and use the argument that they couldn't be able to block from all angles. But as we've seen from the Force Unleashed video game, Galen Merrick's done it, the Jedi have the ability to create a force field all around them and deflect anything that hits them for a short period of time. So I feel like if he struck from all angles a Jedi Master, because Galen wasn't even a Jedi Master and he was able to do it, so I feel like a Jedi Master would be able to create the circle around them that deflected everything and shot outwards. I think they'd be able to do that, and all of Thor's lightning would come back at him. Also, not to mention, Thor wouldn't even be able to do that if, like I said, they just Jedi mind tricked Thor, or they just Jedi mind tricked Hulk into fighting Thor. Because if that happened, Thor would probably win, but he'd come out very injured and very tired and wouldn't be able to contend with the Jedi at that point. You mentioned Order 66. I don't really think we can, bring that up to diminish the Jedi's, skill. I don't think we can use that as an argument because in Order 66, you said they weren't able to block those lasers. Well, that's fair, but those lasers they didn't see coming. Some of them were turned around and they didn't even see them. They literally got shot in the back and were dead before they even realized what's happening. in an organized fight, like what we're talking about, they would be expecting, shots or lasers coming at them, or they'd be expecting attacks, so their defenses would be ready, unlike during Order 66. And as for you adding vision, well, vision's tough, but I don't know if we can really add Vision, because he's actually not an Avenger, he's just an ally of the Avengers, so I don't know if we can really count him as an advantage. So, yeah, I don't know if we could really count him as being part of the Avengers, because he's technically not an Avenger, so, yeah, and also, I feel like it takes a while, as we've seen in cartoons and movies, it takes a while for Thor to summon his lightning and then shoot it at people. It takes like a good 5 seconds for him to summon that lightning and deflect it at someone. And I think in that amount of time, the Jedi would be able to run up to him and stab him or something, considering how fast they are and the fact that they could move hundreds and hundreds of miles per hour. I feel like they'd be able to run up to him and, stab him or hurt him or something before, he was able to throw it, because, summoning his lightning takes a bit of a long time. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Alright, so you said that the Vision isn't an official Avenger, and that may be true in the movie, but in the comics, he's sided with the Avengers for many, many issues, and for many, many years he's been standing by their side, and even after the Avengers, when they had children, he looked after them and taught them everything, or helped teach them everything they needed to know. And, so saying he's not an Avenger, I don't think would be a valid point. He may not have been an official Avenger in Age of Ultron, but that's only because that was his debut concerning the cinematic universe. So I think you'd have to give him some time to officially be a part of the actual team. So, you also mentioned that the Jedi take approximately or around the age of 2 to learn the ways of the Force and to find out that they have the ability of becoming a Jedi. As for the Scarlet Witch, she's been born with her powers since birth, and she may not have been able to control them since birth, but she's always had them, and not controlling them can be an advantage at times. With an example of this advantage is, say a bunch of Jedi were swarming around her. She could put up a force field, control their minds, possibly dismantle them from their use of their lightsabers, and then she would have the upper hand there. And who says that she can't rage into something more powerful than she's ever become? So, let's see here. And from what I'm hearing, you're making the point that the Jedi are so fast that in my mind I see them as fast as Quicksilver, or as fast as even the Flash, or Superman, or anyone with those powers. But from what I've seen, considering the movies, they've been shot down so many times and have been struck down with lightning, and in battles they've been taken out by the Sith. And if either the Sith or the Jedi are that fast, why haven't they won most of their battles? Because the majority of battles they've been in, they've lost. So, for instance, let's see here. Count Dooku and Anakin Skywalker, when they first faced off, Anakin went straight for Dooku, and it was like he couldn't see the lightning coming, the Force lightning coming. So that ultimately got him taken out for most of the battle, and for all of the battle actually. And Obi-Wan in that same duel was sliced a little on his knees, I believe. So if they're so fast, why couldn't they see that coming, and why couldn't they have blocked it at the speed of light? And as for Force lightning, you say it's natural, or it's not natural, and it's covered with the dark side.
Yeah.
Which is more
by the dark side. It is the dark side. It's like 100% dark energy.
Okay. So the Sith shoot Force lightning from their hands at one Jedi, correct?
Mhm.
But in Thor's case, he can fly up and shoot lightning from anywhere, anytime, any angle. So even though you claim it may be more powerful than Thor's lightning, it's still coming from every angle, and it's nearly, if not all, impossible to block every single inch of it. So I don't think the Jedi could necessarily control that. And who's to say this lightning isn't from Earth itself? It could be from... he could be summoning it from Asgard, for all we know. So that lightning swarming everywhere around the Jedi, they're less likely to block every and all of it. And Thor summoning Mjolnir, I believe his hammer is called. He doesn't need the hammer to attack. He can control the hammer by itself by summoning it. And it's not like the hammer dodges its opponents. It also takes them out while traveling to his hand whenever he wishes. So I think that even though Thor wasn't actually handling it, I think the hammer could still take the Jedi by surprise. And yeah, I agree with you with Captain America and Iron Man, but I still don't think Iron Man should be underestimated. And you say Jango Fett's armor is more powerful or stronger than Iron Man's, and that could be true. But Iron Man does have the access to alien beings, or not beings, but objects. After his defeated opponents in the first Avengers movie, so he could possibly create a suit with those same powers. And the Jedi could meet their match, and he could be one of the victors. So, and as for Jedi stabbing Thor directly, he also has the ability to fly. So, if he summoned the lightning in the air and it was shooting down at them, they could go for an attack before anything happened. But he is also up in the air, and if they're so, I I don't think they would be able to reach him that far up in the air, you know?
Right.
And from what I've seen in the movies, the Jedi aren't as fast as you claim. They may be in these games or in cartoons, but most of the time they're taken by surprise and don't see anything coming. I don't think that Order 66, that being a disadvantage for the Jedi, it is in a way, but they're trained to take on any and all threats that come their way. And with the training of the Force, they should be able to know how to defend themselves in situations like that. They show that they know how to defend themselves in the Battle of Geonosis when they were surrounded by not only battle droids but Geonosians who were attacking them, and along with along with Jango Fett, who is pretty good at what he does. So yeah, they prove they can take that on. They prove they can defeat that, but they can't defeat a couple dozen stormtroopers. If they can't defeat stormtroopers, I would highly doubt that they could defeat Thor and his endless amount of lightning coming their way.
Okay. Alright. Okay. So what you said about Scarlet Witch, she's had powers since birth. Well, so have the Jedi. That's why they're called Force sensitives, because they have a lot of the Force in them. They have to be disciplined in it. So Scarlet Witch and the Jedi have one thing in common, and that's them being born with it. But the Jedi were disciplined in it much earlier than the Scarlet Witch. There we go for that one. And as far as Vision being an Avenger, yes, he stood with the Avenger on many issues. He's an ally of the Avengers, as I said. He's not an official Avenger, and we're talking about official Avengers. And so, I mean, that's, like, if he's not an official Avenger, I don't think we should count him, but I mean, I suppose we can if you want. And as the Scarlet Witch and her force field goes, yes, the force field can defend, but that's all it can do is defend. It can't attack, therefore it couldn't be, harmful to the Jedi, because, I mean, even if she puts it up around herself, yeah, the Jedi can't hit her, but they can take out her entire team, and then at best she can just keep the force field up and run away, in best case scenario. And as far as you're saying, who says Scarlet Witch can't rage quit, or can't, rage, well, we don't know she can't rage, but we don't know she can rage. And, I mean, if she was gonna rage, you'd think she would have done it against, the Ultron soldiers and whatnot. So, I mean, who says, the Jedi can't go rage mode and just destroy everything with the Force? I mean, we don't know they can, but since they haven't and there's no evidence that they can, I don't think we should be able to count it. And you said in the movies the Sith were able to take out the Jedi, so they're not fast. Well, the thing is, yes, the Jedi took them out, but that doesn't mean the Jedi aren't fast. That's just because the Sith are just as fast as the Jedi. They have the same force speed ability. So they were fighting someone just as fast as them. If they were fighting the Avengers, they wouldn't be fighting someone just as fast as them. They'd be fighting someone significantly slower. And I mean, of course, it's not going to show that they're that fast in the movie. I mean, we wouldn't have much fight scenes if all it was is like you couldn't see them and then it appears back and someone's dead. They didn't do that in the movies, but in the novelizations, it's official canon and it counts. And if they say that that's that in the official canon, it is official canon. So I say we have to take their word for it. So they are that fast, even if it doesn't show it in the movies, and it has showed it in the cartoons sometimes. And I think it showed it in Star Wars Episode 1 when they were running away from the destroyers, or the droidicas. They might have shown it, I can't remember that well. Yes, Anakin was taken out by Force Lightning, but again, Force Lightning is a lot faster than regular lightning. And, you can't really compare the Sith fighting the Jedi to the Avengers fighting the Jedi because the Sith and the Jedi are the same speed. And the Jedi and the Avengers are not the same speed or even close to the same speed. The Jedi is significantly faster than all of the Avengers except Quicksilver. And all Quicksilver has is his speed, and their Jedis have much more than their speed. Speed is just one attribute, so they outweigh Quicksilver, and then after Quicksilver is out of the picture, they're insanely faster than everyone else. And then, as far as, every angle thing going, and Thor being able to shoot them from every angle. Like I said, they can surround themselves with the Force. They can manipulate anything that's natural. And if lightning is natural, maybe one Jedi couldn't, stop all the Force, or couldn't stop all of the lightning. Like I said, if they just Jedi mind tricked the Hulk into, fighting the rest of the Avengers, leaving Thor, by himself fighting, the rest of the Jedi Masters. And by the way, Hulk would be able to kill the rest of the Avengers because it showed in the Avengers cartoon that they aren't able to beat the Hulk. All of them, not including Thor, but all of them teamed up wouldn't be able to beat the Hulk, as it's shown in the cartoon, when the only way they survived an attack from the Hulk is because they got Janice out there to calm him down. So he could kill the rest of them, and, might even be able to, he would be able to distract Thor too, but even pretending he wouldn't be able to distract Thor, Thor could, summon all of his lightning from every angle, and one Jedi couldn't defend against that, but all the Jedi teamed up. I don't see, each Jedi, sorry, I had to sneeze. Okay, so each Jedi can, manipulate insane amounts of, area around them, and if he shot from every angle, the Jedi could just kind of, fill up maybe a circle or something, and all, force push away everything in front of them, which they could easily do, and then everything Thor summoned would come back at him, and since he doesn't have the Force and he was only one guy, he wouldn't be able to defend against that.
Alright, so as far as the Scarlet Witch goes, she not only has the ability to manipulate minds or force fields, she can also I think I'd use lasers as the word. It's some kind of magic. Her name's Scarlet Witch after all. So this magic, this red magic, comes from her. She can use it at any time. She can shoot it at her opponents and defend with her force field, along with manipulating minds. So that's an advantage to her. that's how she took out. That's how she helped take out most of the droids from Age of Ultron in the movie, while defending her team as well. So, and as far as the Jedi manipulating the Hulk to kill the rest of the Avengers, would that necessarily be the Jedi way to viciously, even though it's not you yourself, but through your opponent, to kill each and every one of them with brute force? I think if you'd want to do that, if you'd want to use your ability to do that, which I don't think the Jedi would stand for, that's not the point, that's not their purpose, you'd just be considered a Sith. That wouldn't really be the Jedi way in my eyes. And let's see here. I should have been writing notes. Yeah, I don't think Thor could stand a chance against Hulk if they did that, and he could possibly defeat him, but with great struggle, especially if the Force. But then again, Thor is a god with his godlike hammer and his powers, and again, the lightning at every angle with his ground pound could uproot even the Hulk from where he stands. So, on the topic of Thor and his lightning, lightning bolts are pretty large. Just one by itself is as big as almost as big as a tree, I believe. So if you take that size and compare it to the size of force lightning, it doesn't really match up. Even though you say force lightning is more powerful than actual lightning from the sky, Thor's lightning may be an advantage because it is bigger, and imagine if it surrounds all of the Jedi. Imagine if they couldn't even concentrate, they couldn't even think, they couldn't even hear themselves think. That's how much lightning would be coming their way. And it could even possibly put Thor and the rest of his team in danger. But I think he'd do it for good reason to, in the end result, get the victory. So, imagine the size of the lightning to force lightning. Force lightning comes from the Sith's hands, and fingers are only so big. So, even both hands combined, I don't think would match up to the size of a regular lightning bolt. And, so yeah.
Alright. Well, so as far as the size thing goes, I'm just gonna bring up a quote from Yoda. Quote, "Matter size does not." I might have not quoted that correctly. But basically, when it comes to the Force and what you can manipulate and how you can defend it, size doesn't really play a factor because, it's not like something being heavy or being struggled to lift it. Everything, the Force runs through everything, It's like comparing, how big something is to how you can lift it with the Force is like, kind of saying how much air you could, like, lift in a weight. Like, well, it doesn't matter because air is air and air is weightless, so it doesn't matter how much of it is or how large the portion is, it's all the same. So that's about the weight or the size thing. So about Hulk, them manipulating Hulk to kill the Jedi way, or isn't the Jedi way? Well, you're right, it most certainly isn't the Jedi way, but they don't necessarily have to make the Hulk kill him or kill the rest of the Avengers. They could just make him hurt the Avengers badly, which I would say is the Jedi way. If you're not killing them, but you're taking the means necessary to hurt them or take them out of the fight, then I'd say it's the Jedi way. As far as the all angles thing, well, you keep bringing that up, and I mean, it's a good point, but I was just thinking, like, if Thor has the ability to do that, like, just bring lightning bolts from everywhere, he would have been able to kill anyone. He would have been able to, kill Ultron, or he could have killed the entire Voltron robot army in one hit if he was able to do that, but he's never done it, which, I mean, if he's never done it...
He helped do it.
Huh?
He helped do it along with Ultron and Iron Man.
Alright, well, I mean, he's never struck from all angles like that. Like, he's never, attacked from all angles with lightning. And like I said, even if he could attack from all angles, the Jedi could just get in, like, a circular formation and, block everything in front of them. Yeah, that's my rebuttal of that. So yeah, I think we've both gotten our point across fairly well. Do you want to just have some closing statements, a closing statement from each of us?
Well, I'm just going to leave off with this. I think the Avengers with Thor is the key essential to the Avengers actually winning. And since he is an official Avenger, and you argue that Ultron isn't, I think he is an essential key, and with that, I forgot to mention in my last rebuttal, just imagine the force, the power of a single lightning bolt, almost nearly as big as a tree, coming at your single lightsaber and trying to deflect it. You'd have a better chance of living by moving out of the way than standing your ground and trying to defend yourself with your lightsaber and with the Force. And the Force wouldn't play a whole lot of a big role in this battle, considering the lightning, because, like I said, imagine if any and all angle of the entire sky that they were under, and the force, the charge of these lightning bolts coming down at these single Jedi bodies. And who knows if Thor could make the lightning bolts bigger than they actually are, than the ones bigger than the ones we see in thunderstorms from time to time. Who says he can't make them bigger or more powerful to his advantage? Let's see here. think the speed of the Jedi would play a big part either, considering that they're being surrounded, swarmed like flies coming at them at every angle, and the speed, even the speed of light. I don't think if Thor had the power to expand everything he had, I don't even think the speed of light would help them. So, with that said, I think both teams would put up a pretty good fight. I think we're stuck at, I think we have hit a roadblock in this argument between the Jedi and Thor himself. So, I think both teams would put up a pretty good fight. But in the end, let's say this is how it goes. The Jedi would take out most, if not all, of the Avengers, with the exception of Thor. And then I believe that Thor would wipe out the Jedi with his powers and everything inside that. So both teams would put up a great fight. I'd love to see this in either an animation or live action, or possibly a comic. In the end, I think Thor alone, if any Avengers survived after this, would be victorious.
Alright. Those good points. And in my closing statement, it's going to be really short. I'm just going to state that you mentioned swarming, that they'd just get swarmed, and I find it unlikely that they'd get swarmed because, all the members, well, not all, but most of the members of each team are right in front of me. It's the thumbnail thing. And the Jedi outnumber the Avengers. So, and also they're strategic masters. They're generals in an intergalactic army, for God's sake. They're generals in an intergalactic army, so they have outstanding, strategic abilities, and also they outnumber the Avengers, so I find it unlikely that they'd get swarmed by the Avengers. But if you're talking about the Lightning swarming them, like I said, I think they could defend it with the Force, because, think about it, it doesn't matter what it is or how big it is, everything is, pretty, unless every object or something that's not a living force is pretty even in the Force, so I don't think lightning being thrown at them would be any different than, a bunch of, say, books being thrown at them. Of course, lightning would kill them if it hit them, and books wouldn't, but, it'd be just as easy to defend. All they'd have to do is get in a circle and throw forward everything that comes at them, which is very possible, seeing as what the Jedi have been able to do with their Force walls and Force deflections, in the movies and stuff. Alright, I think that both of our closing statements are done.
One more thing that I have to add to Thor, and in this battle, or any battle he's ever been in, even if he's knocked out with everything the Jedi have, they still couldn't. Thor's power.
Go say what you said.
Alright, Thor's power is held. Well, it's not literally held inside, but without the hammer, Thor doesn't have any powers. He can't fly, he can't summon lightning, he can summon the hammer itself, but he can't do anything else. So even if they knocked him out of the air with whatever they had, whatever the Jedi had, they still wouldn't be able to stop Thor from wielding his hammer once again, once he got back to his feet.
Unless...
And even if they tried to destroy it, they couldn't. If he summoned it, or if they tried to lift it, they couldn't. Nobody can, unless he sees them worthy, or unless it chooses them, which is highly unlikely if they're against him.
Alright, that's a good point. But, you know, like I've said, wait, what was the last point you just made again? Sorry. About his
lifting the hammer.
Oh yeah, so yes, the only way they'd be able to beat him is if they knocked his hammer out, but, in the book Shatterpoint of Star Wars, in a Star Wars book Shatterpoint, Mace Windu was able to punch someone over 100 times in a second. So I feel like if Mace Windu got close enough, he could just punch Thor so many times that Thor, and so forcefully so many times, Thor would drop his hammer. If he was able to get close enough, which wouldn't be too hard considering he's one of the most skilled at the Force speed abilities and one of the fastest Jedi in the galaxy.
But who says he couldn't summon it again? And even it wouldn't just go straight to his hands. It would attack or attempt to attack some Jedi along the way. So that could be an advantage to Thor.
Okay.
And how many Jedi are as skilled as you say they are? Because the Jedi fall rather quickly in, well, let's take for example the Battle of Geonosis with the droids and with the other enemies in that battle. They fall rather quickly, and with Order 66, they fell quickly. With that one guy, I forgot his name. Guy with the cone head. I nicknamed him Conehead. Huh?
Coyote-Mundi.
Yeah, he had his lightsaber out, which is another point that I make, because you said that they were defenseless. Well, he had his lightsaber out, and he was ready to defend, and he still, even though he was a Jedi Master and a part of the Council, he still couldn't withstand a couple clone troopers.
That was over like 100. That wasn't a couple.
Well, okay. But anyway, if every Jedi, I doubt that every Jedi on the Council is as strong as you claim they are. The only two people I believe would be as strong as you claim is Mace Windu and Yoda.
And Anakin and Obi-Wan, I'd say. And probably Mephisto.
Anakin could get his cockiness and anger that could get the best of him. And Obi-Wan, he falls rather quickly, as we see in every battle he's ever been in.
Well, not ever. I mean, he fell pretty quickly to Dooku both times, but he put up a great fight against Anakin. And the only reason he fell so quickly in the third one was because Dooku was intentionally trying to get him out of the fight so he could test Anakin's skills, and Obi-Wan thought the focus was going to get split 50-50, but it was like 100-0, and that threw Anakin off guard. Or threw Obi-Wan off guard.
So, honestly, I could imagine most of the Jedi falling rather quickly to these thunderbolts of Thor, and the only two I could see still standing would be Yoda and Mace if they teamed up and stuck through it together. But even then, it would still be Thor. 2 against 1. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so, fair points. I have more to say, but I think we should wrap it up here. Now, that was a good debate, remember, people put in the comments who you think won.
So I think this has come to a draw. So I think we should let them decide who won.
Yeah, I agree.
Between us.
I agree.
And who they think should win.
Yeah, I agree. So vote, people, and all right. So that's that. I'm gonna stop my recording now.